students and distinguished guests to the 2009 academic convocation. When I first received the email about speaking this afternoon, I was sitting in the office at State House in Freetown, thinking about how to use aluminum cans to make jewelry in order to promote youth employment in a country that makes almost nothing. I've become accustomed to doing my best thinking with soukous music in the background, my rowdy coworkers discussing the finer points of corruption, and waiting for my ration of internet connection. I've never been so happy for coming to the Fletcher School. I came to this internship armed with my tiny little toolbox filled with negotiation points, economic theories, and how to respond to complex emergencies. For all intents and purposes, my internship was a complex emergency. I had found myself in a non-functional office with running water mostly on Fridays to accommodate those completing ablution before the Juma prayers, and I was doing a project that could have been right out of the African communities in crisis syllabus. I had definitely hit the mother lode with this internship. I would have material for class discussions for at least a week. I couldn't wait to get back to school to enthrall my classmates with stories of my expert maneuvering of government policies and how those group meetings in the Hall of Flags were very useful during my section meetings with the private sector advisor. I'd especially enjoyed telling one of my coworkers that just because a PowerPoint presentation contains the words "promote female employment" does not make it a humanitarian effort. This was said diplomatically, of course. 3 months, a 20-page report on youth employment and waste management, and a presentation for the president of Sierra Leone later. I was on my way back to Boston. But I was crestfallen, I must admit. I'd made the ultimate mistake. I'd underestimated the Fletcher Mafia. Before I even got back to the US, I had heard about some of our classmates' internships in Eastern Congo, Guinea. I mean, could you choose more difficult zones to go to? I shouldn't have been surprised. This was the very reason I believed that I was the admissions mistake in the first place. After reading those profiles on the website, you can't help but be slightly intimidated. However, several weeks here and you quickly learn that Fletcher is one of the most nurturing environments, both academically and socially. The Fletcher School for me is a community of a select group of people that genuinely care about making a difference. I know this may sound cliche, but walking through these halls every morning and listening to the conversations that I had about protracted conflicts, humanitarian law versus human rights law, and taking pictures on horseback in Mongolia captures just a small part of the wealth of knowledge that is here. The rich tapestry of all our stories adorn the hallways, classrooms, and of course the Blakely Hall. The diversity of the student body allows us to share our unique experiences and open up our minds to the dynamic and oftentimes confusing world that we live in. I believe that this is one of the few places that you can talk about any issue anywhere in the world, and you will have a classmate or professor who either witnessed it or has done extensive research on the subject. Once you get over the shock of being in a classroom with a professor that has negotiated with a rebel group, everything should be smooth sailing from there. The Fletcher classroom is not only a place for acquiring information, but it is a medium for sharing ideas and experiences. I have learned so much more from classroom discussions than any policy memo I have read. I actually look forward to going to most of my classes to hear people talk with such enthusiasm and conviction about the things that they care about. There's nothing like a good heated discussion in international mediation to get the mind going on how to resolve a conflict. Discussions in and out of class often delve into a wide range of topics because of the diversity of our student body, with each person bringing different professional and personal experiences. You will often find yourself roped into conversations that you know nothing about. Word of advice: if you ever find yourself discussing one such subject, nod enthusiastically and tell them how interested you are in the subject, but have not had time to do much research on it because you're working on something more obscure and even more difficult to explain. The social scene at Fletcher is also a very important aspect of the learning experience. If the walls of Blakely could speak, they would have many stories to tell. Social hour is always a pleasure and attracts the largest crowds, but I'm sure the free food has nothing to do with it. The cultural nights are also a highlight. You will be very surprised to find that there's some very talented dancers, singers, poets, and actors in our midst. It is so beautiful to see the hard work of students come together during the cultural nights, as we all get a chance to indulge ourselves in the history and art of different parts of the world. Trust Fletcher students to bring you the best Bollywood, belly dancing, salsa, and traditional Rwandese dance routines you're going to see performed by any IR graduate students. These different cultural nights bring to life the colors, the vibrancy, the passion, and rich sounds from all our different homes. If that does not satisfy your craving for socializing, the multitude of student organizations will definitely keep you busy. There's a student organization for just about anything. If you care about it, there's probably an organization that does it. Worst case scenario, you can get on the social list and commandeer classmates to start an organization. Many great ideas have been born out of the social list, a guilty pleasure that so many of us love to hate. Nonetheless, the social list is one of the many examples of the support system that exists at Fletcher. The support system extends far beyond the time you spend here. You never tire of hearing people talking about how they were able to get a job through our alumni connection, had an amazing chat with an alumni on a tram in Geneva. People are generally at the Fletcher School for the learning experience and are willing to give and receive, and that, I think, sets Fletcher apart. A Fletcher degree carries substantial weight and goes beyond the name and speaks to the depth of the person that holds it. We are all here because we believe that we can be leaders in our respective fields. However, it is important to remember that this cannot be done alone. It is these connections that we make here and across the world with hundreds of people that have sat in these very same lecture halls that sets Fletcher apart. I can truly call many of my classmates friends. I know that I can count on them and they can definitely count on me. We come here to take this journey alone, but you quickly learn that you're part of something greater. You're part of a vast network of leaders with a global perspective, striving to affect change all over the world. This is what is referred to as the Fletcher Mafia, a covert and elite operating force that has managed to infiltrate some of the most influential organizations. And it is our mission, and you have no choice to accept since you're here, to continue in this tradition. Thank you very much.